Operation Spring Awakening, launched by Nazi Germany in March 1945, represented Adolf Hitler's final desperate attempt to turn the tide of the war on the Eastern Front. This article delves into the objectives, execution, and consequences of Operation Spring Awakening, which ultimately ended in failure for the German forces. The strategic context: by early 1945, Nazi Germany found itself in a dire situation on the Eastern Front, with Soviet forces advancing steadily towards the heartland of the Reich. The Red Army had already breached the German defenses on the Eastern Front and was poised to launch a final assault on Berlin, the capital of the Third Reich. Objectives of Operation Spring Awakening. Operation Spring Awakening aimed to achieve several key objectives for the German High Command. Firstly, it sought to relieve pressure on the German forces defending Hungary by launching a counteroffensive against the advancing Soviet armies. Secondly, it aimed to secure critical oil fields in Hungary and deny them to the advancing Soviets. Finally, Operation Spring Awakening was intended to disrupt Allied plans for the final assault on Germany by diverting Allied forces away from the Western Front. Execution of the operation. On March 6, 1945, German forces launched Operation Spring Awakening with a massive assault against Soviet positions in Hungary. Spearheaded by elite panzer divisions and supported by Luftwaffe air power, the German offensive initially made significant gains, catching the Soviet forces off guard. The Battle of Lake Balaton. The focal point of Operation Spring Awakening was the Battle of Lake Balaton, where German forces sought to break through Soviet defenses and seize control of the strategic oil fields in Hungary. Despite initial successes, the German offensive ultimately faltered due to stiff Soviet resistance, logistical challenges, and Allied air superiority. The Soviets launched a counteroffensive, pushing back the exhausted German forces and inflicting heavy casualties. Consequences and legacy. Operation Spring Awakening ended in failure for Nazi Germany, with the German forces unable to achieve their objectives and suffering significant losses in the process. The defeat hastened the collapse of the German military on the Eastern Front and paved the way for the final Soviet advance into Germany itself. Conclusion. Operation Spring Awakening stands as a poignant reminder of Hitler's futile attempts to reverse the course of the war in its final days. Despite initial gains, the German offensive ultimately proved to be too little, too late, and contributed to the eventual defeat of Nazi Germany on the Eastern Front. As we reflect on this chapter of history, let us remember the sacrifices made by all those who fought and died in the struggle for freedom and justice.